My dear heart, let me tell you something our grandmothers knew, something the ancients whispered under their breath as they swept porches and opened windows wide to greet the morning sun. Salt is not just seasoning, it is sacred, it is covenant, it is cleansing, it is covering. Now, don't you think for one moment that this is superstition dressed in Sunday clothes? No, baby, this is faith with feet. This is the quiet wisdom of women who prayed through the night, humming hymns while they sprinkled salt and scripture in equal measure. This is the kind of faith that doesn't just speak, it moves, it acts, it protects, it sanctifies. You see, our foremothers understood something we often forget in this modern age of noise and reason, that creation itself listens when faith speaks. They knew that salt, simple as it seemed, carried the breath of the sea and the memory of the earth. It was a bridge between what was seen and what was unseen. Every grain was a reminder that God placed power even in the smallest things. So when they took salt in hand, they weren't seasoning food. They were seasoning the air, consecrating their space, calling heaven closer. I can still hear my grandmother's voice, low and steady like an old hymn sung on a porch swing. She would say, "Child, the house don't keep itself, the Spirit keeps it." And she was right. A home isn't made holy by the walls or the paint, but by what you welcome and what you refuse to host. Every room, every corner, every doorway carries a spirit, one that either invites peace or permits chaos. And salt, oh beloved, salt is the silent gatekeeper. Now I've come to remind you of what they knew, that God moves where faith has prepared a place. So take heed, beloved. There are 5 sacred places in your home where salt must rest, where your prayer must dwell, where your authority must be spoken, because the home is more than shelter, it is sanctuary. The front door, the corners, the bed, the table, the windows, each one holds spiritual weight. Each one tells heaven what you expect and warns hell what you reject. But tonight, let's begin where every journey begins, the threshold, the front door, the line between what is yours and what is not. The first and the last point of every blessing and every battle. Yes, baby, that door of yours is more than wood and hinges. It is a witness. It watches every tear that has fallen before you left and every sigh that has entered when you returned. It remembers laughter. It remembers loss. It has seen both prayer and argument cross its frame. But do you treat it as sacred? Do you honor it as the gate of your peace? My grandmother used to say, "A house ain't a home until it's been prayed over." And she meant it. Before a rug kissed the floor, before curtains met the sun, she would stand at that door with a handful of salt and a heart full of prayer. She'd whisper, "Lord, keep what's holy in and keep what's harmful out." And child, when she prayed, something shifted. You could feel it. The air itself seemed to stand at attention. Even the wind outside softened, as if listening. So I tell you now, do the same. Take your salt, not too much, just a pinch, and place it gently at the threshold of your door. Don't rush. Don't just sprinkle it and walk away. Speak over it, not just with your mouth, but with your heart. Let your faith do the talking. Say, "Peace lives here. Trouble must pass by. No harm, no hate, no heaviness may enter this dwelling." And as you say it, believe it, because it's not the salt that holds the power, it's your obedience that opens the heavens. This, my love, is not superstition. It is intercession. It is the practice of those who understood that holiness is not a performance, it's protection. When you lay that salt, you're telling heaven, "I trust you to guard my gates." You're telling the enemy, "This house is under new management." You're not just protecting a floor, you're guarding your atmosphere. You're declaring, "This space has been set apart." And let me tell you, the enemy doesn't always knock loud. Sometimes he comes in wearing a smile. Sometimes he hides in stress that clings to your clothes. Sometimes he rides in on words spoken in anger or exhaustion or fear. But when you've laid salt in prayer, that threshold becomes a filter. It becomes a shield. What is not meant for you must drop off before it crosses the line. And when you step in, beloved, something inside exhales. Your shoulders drop. Your soul whispers, I am home. You see, the front door is more than an entrance. It's an altar. It's where you decide this home will be light, not darkness. This home will be peace, not warfare. This home will be laughter, not lament. When you bless the door, you're not just sanctifying wood and hinges. You're claiming your divine right to peace. So tonight, when you return home or before you rest, stand at that door like a priest before the temple. Pour your salt. Whisper your prayer. Say it until your spirit feels the weight lift. Say it until your home feels washed. And know this, when you do, you are not alone. The same angels who watched over your grandmother's porch, who kept her prayers alive through generations, now stand watch at your own door. They hear you. They remember the sound of faith, and when they do, baby, they move. Because God honors what you honor. And when you treat your home like the sacred ground it is, the very walls begin to hum with His presence. The door becomes not just a passage, but a promise. A reminder that what is inside belongs to heaven and what is outside must bow to divine authority. So go ahead, beloved, take your salt, take your prayer, lay it at the door and whisper softly, this house is holy ground, and then step back. Watch peace roll in like morning light. Watch burdens melt like wax. Watch your home become what it was always meant to be, a dwelling where God is welcome and the world must wait outside. Now, child, stay with me. Because once you have blessed the threshold, once the doorway has been claimed, there is still work to do. Every home, no matter how new, no matter how full of laughter or light, carries its quiet places. The ones that don't meet the eye but hold the memory of everything that's ever happened there. The corners. Yes, those still shadowed spaces that wait patiently while life rushes by. You sweep them maybe. You pass by them. You rarely stop to look. But let me tell you something, beloved. Corners remember. They remember words said in haste. They remember tears that never found a handkerchief. They remember dreams left unfinished and the sighs that followed. Corners collect what the heart forgets. You see, every house breathes, every wall absorbs the sound of its people. And what is not blessed, what is not cleared, settles. It lingers. It waits. You might feel it as a heaviness, a quiet kind of fatigue that doesn't come from the body but from the spirit. It's the weight of old energy, of unresolved things, and that is why the old mothers taught us, bless the corners, not because they believed in superstition, but because they understood holiness has no hierarchy. God does not visit only the center of the room. He visits wherever He is invited, even the corners, especially the corners, because those are the places where life hides what it cannot heal. So tonight, when the house is still and the noise has gone quiet, walk through your rooms slowly. Don't rush. Don't just glance at what's tidy and bright. Let your eyes trace the edges where the wall meets the floor, where dust likes to rest, where silence hums. Take a pinch of salt between your fingers, nothing more, and let it fall gently into those corners. As it lands, whisper softly, clean what's been forgotten, heal what's been hidden, dwell even here. You see, the salt does not need volume, it needs intention. It doesn't need to shout to work. It listens to the heart that places it. And the moment it touches the ground, something begins to shift. Because faith, even when quiet, moves like water, it fills every space. I remember watching my grandmother do this on slow Sunday afternoons. She'd move from room to room, her steps deliberate, her lips barely moving as she prayed. She didn't ask for riches or favor or signs. She asked for peace. She asked for laughter to echo without fear, for arguments to dissolve at the door, for sorrow to find no place to stay. And somehow, you could feel it happen. The house felt lighter afterward, like the air had been washed. It smelled not of salt, but of stillness, the kind that feels safe. That, beloved, is what it means to bless your corners. You are not cleaning dirt. You are clearing energy. You are partnering with God to make your home a place where no shadow can hide, where the unseen finds order again. Because holiness is not loud, it is thorough. It reaches the overlooked. It redeems what has been forgotten. And maybe, if you're honest, there are corners in you too. Parts of your heart you haven't dusted off in a long while. Places that hold the remnants of old wounds, words never spoken, forgiveness that still trembles at the tongue. But God doesn't skip those spaces either. He moves through them with the same tenderness. So as you bless the corners of your house, remember, you are teaching your spirit to do the same, to open up, to release, to make room for light where shadows have lived too long. If you listen closely while you pray, you might feel something. Like a soft stirring, like a weight lifting that you didn't even know you carried. That's peace returning home. That's the spirit rearranging things quietly, like a mother straightening a child's blanket while they sleep. And from that moment on, you'll notice a difference. You'll walk into your living room and feel stillness, not silence. You'll sit in your bedroom and feel clarity, not emptiness. The corners will no longer feel like places of neglect, but of rest. Because once you've invited God there, every inch of your home begins to speak the same language, peace. So bless the corners, child. Bless them with faith, not fear. Bless them with prayer, not panic. And when you finish, stand in the middle of your room, close your eyes, and breathe. The air will feel alive. You'll feel it in your chest, in your bones, in your spirit, the sense that nothing has been overlooked. That you, your house, your life have been seen fully and tenderly by the one who misses nothing. And that is what sanctification truly is. Not a ritual, but a remembering, a returning to wholeness. The corners of your home are waiting for you, beloved. Go to them with love, with courage, and with salt in hand. And let peace fill every hidden place until even silence feels like a song. Night, my dear, is a sacred visitor. It comes whether you invite it or not, folding the day into silence, closing the eyes of the world one by one. But not all nights bring peace. Some arrive heavy, wearing the perfume of unfinished thoughts, worries that refuse to rest, and memories that linger at the edges of sleep. You know those nights, the kind where you lie still, but your mind keeps walking, where the room is dark, yet your heart stays lit with questions. Rest, beloved, is holy. It is not a weakness, not an indulgence. It is an altar, and your bed is the sanctuary. It is where your spirit meets stillness, where the unseen battles of the day find a ceasefire. But when your rest is troubled, when shadows gather under the bed or dreams turn sour, it is time to take back that sacred space. Because God never meant for your nights to be battlegrounds. He meant them to be blessings. So tonight, before you lay your head down, take a small handful of salt. Hold it for a moment. Let it warm in your hand as if you are holding a prayer. Feel the simplicity of it, the earth's pure offering. The same salt that has preserved, healed, and purified since the beginning of time. This salt, placed with faith, is not superstition. It is declaration. It says to the unseen, peace lives here. It tells the darkness, this bed, this room, this rest belong to God. Slide that salt gently beneath your bed. Don't throw it, don't rush it. Place it as if you were tucking a child into safety. Whisper softly, Lord, stand watch where I cannot. Let no fear dwell here. Let my dreams be guarded. Let my rest be whole. That's all it takes. A sentence, a breath, a moment of faith. And I tell you, something changes when you do. The air shifts, the quiet becomes kinder, the shadows grow still. You may not see it, but heaven hears the sound of surrender. Because faith, when spoken even in whispers, travels farther than sound ever could. I once knew a woman, small in frame but mighty in spirit. Every night before sleep she would kneel by her bed, sprinkle salt beneath it and say, guard what I cannot see. Her grandchildren thought it was just an old habit, something quaint and unnecessary. But they didn't know the weight of her prayers. They didn't see the way her eyes softened afterward, the peace that wrapped around her like a shawl. She wasn't fighting superstition. She was practicing faith, the kind that doesn't need witnesses to work. And year after year, through storms and sickness, through loneliness and loss, her home remained calm, her nights unbroken. Because she understood that rest is warfare too, and she fought for hers with prayer and salt. If you've been waking heavy, if your nights feel longer than they should, don't ignore it. There's meaning in that unrest. Your spirit might be asking for covering. Maybe the noise of the world has followed you into your dreams. Maybe your thoughts have built altars where peace should have been. But hear me, you can reclaim it. You can turn even the floor beneath your bed into holy ground. Salt under the bed is a reminder that your peace is worth protecting. It's a signpost to heaven saying, I'm trusting you here too, because faith is not just for daylight. It's for the unseen hours, for the moments when the world goes quiet, and all that's left is your breath and your belief. And child, God honors belief like that. So before the night folds in completely, take a deep breath. Sit at the edge of your bed. Let your shoulders drop. Let the day fall away like an old coat. Then reach for your salt, whisper your prayer, and lay it down, not in fear, but in faith. Tell your soul, you are safe. Tell your body, you may rest. Tell your mind, the battle is over for now. And when you finally close your eyes, know that you are not alone. Know that angels stand where the shadows once gathered. Know that peace has taken its place beneath you like a foundation. The same God who stretched stars across the sky is watching over your small corner of the world, making sure that sleep finds you gentle and whole. Rest well, beloved. Let the salt speak quietly in the night. Let it remind every spirit that might wander too close that this home, this bed, this soul are covered. And when morning comes, when light spills across your pillow, lift your face and give thanks, not just for waking, but for resting. Because the God who kept you through the night is the same one who will guide you through the day. And that, child, is the quiet miracle, to lay down in faith and rise up in peace. There is another place, beloved, quiet and often overlooked, that carries more memory than we realize: the table. Not the grand dining table you set for company, but any place in your home where hands meet, where food is shared, where words travel between hearts. The table is where your family breathes together. It is the daily altar of life, where the sacred hides behind the ordinary. And yet, too many tables have forgotten their holiness. They have held meals, but not gratitude, conversations, but not connection, presence without peace. A table is never just furniture. It listens. It holds echoes of what has been spoken above it. Some tables remember laughter so bright it still hums in the wood. Others remember arguments that cut too deep. Some remember the silence that follows disappointment, the heaviness of plates barely touched. You see, the spirit of a home doesn't only live in the rooms, it lives at the table. What you do there, what you speak there, what energy you allow there, it lingers. It feeds the soul as much as the body. That is why the old ones, the ones who understood the rhythm between heaven and earth, always blessed the table. Before food was set, before hands were washed, before anyone sat, they paused. They didn't pray to impress. They prayed to protect. They knew that what entered the body through the mouth began in the spirit. So they sprinkled a little salt, not much, just a whisper of it, and said, Lord, let this be a table of peace. Let no bitterness be served here. Let this bread bring joy, not burden. When I was little, my grandmother's table was the heart of the house. It was not large, not polished, but it had a spirit about it. You could walk in tired and leave feeling lighter, and she never claimed it was her cooking that did it. She said, it's the blessing in the salt. Every Sunday after church, she'd wipe the table clean, set it with care, and trace a circle of salt right in the center. She would say softly, Lord, bless whoever eats here, even if they come with sorrow. Let this table teach them joy again. And somehow, it worked. People laughed more freely there. Arguments dissolved before they began. Even grief softened its tone in that room. And now, I'm not telling you to turn dinner into ceremony. I'm telling you to remember the spirit of your table. When you place that pinch of salt, you are not seasoning food. You are seasoning the atmosphere. You are asking that everything set upon it, bread, conversation, presence, become nourishment. Because not every hunger is for food. Some hungers are for forgiveness, for understanding, for comfort. And when you bless your table, you make space for those hungers to be fed too. Sit down tonight and look at your table as if you've never seen it before. Notice the small stains that tell stories. Notice the worn edges, the places where elbows have leaned through the years. These marks are sacred. They are evidence of living. Place your salt there, right where those memories meet, and say, "Thank you, Lord, for what was, for what is, and for what will be shared here." And then, when you eat with awareness. Let the first bite remind you of provision, not lack. Let the sound of laughter remind you that God's goodness doesn't only fall from heaven, it sits across from you in the eyes of those you love. If you eat alone, don't you dare think the table is empty. Angels dine with the faithful. Peace sits where it is invited. Bless the space anyway. Speak aloud, even if it's just to the quiet. This table is holy. This meal is blessed. This moment matters. Salt at the table is a call to gratitude. It reclaims what the rush of life tries to steal: the pause, the thankfulness, the recognition that you are surrounded by enough. It's a way of saying, even here, Lord, I see you. Even in this simple act, I worship. Too many homes have tables that feed the stomach but starve the soul. Don't let that be yours. Let yours be the place where reconciliation finds a chair, where laughter is loud enough to chase away the week's weariness, where love is tasted as clearly as the meal itself. Because every time you bless your table, you're doing more than honoring tradition. You're restoring balance. One day, when someone else sits at your table long after you're gone, they will feel it. They won't know why the air feels softer there or why their heart steadies as they eat. But they'll know peace has lived in that space for a long, long time. So keep your table pure, beloved, not perfect, but prayed over. Keep your meals honest, your words kind, your gratitude loud. Let the salt on your table be a symbol of covenant, the promise that in this home what is shared will heal, not harm, build, not break, bless, not burden. And as you sit to eat tonight, remember this: the table is more than where you feed your body. It's where heaven comes close enough to taste. There's one more place, my dear, that most people never think to bless, yet it speaks louder than they know: the windows, the eyes of the home, the fragile, shimmering borders between your sanctuary and the restless world beyond. Through them, light enters and shadows leave. Through them, the seasons pass, the sky changes its mood, and the spirit of the outside world tries to find a way in. Some days, sunlight floods through and fills your rooms with joy, but on others, the air feels heavy, like the world is pressing its face against the glass, peering in, searching for a crack to slip through. Windows are more than openings. They are invitations. Every breeze that stirs the curtains, every sound that drifts through the glass carries energy with it: joy, sorrow, memory, even confusion. And that is why, beloved, it matters what spirit you let through them. You may close your door at night and think you are safe, but the unseen still travels where light passes. The ancients knew this well. They opened their windows with prayer, not assumption. They said, "Let what enters be light. Let what leaves be burden." I remember as a child watching my grandmother tend to her windows at dawn. She would open each one slowly, as if greeting an old friend, and with a pinch of salt in hand, she'd whisper, "Peace in, peace out." Then she'd scatter a bit of salt along the sill, not carelessly, but like a signature. She believed the window frame was a covenant line, a border that should never go unguarded. "You protect the heart of your home, child," she'd say, "but don't forget its eyes." And I've never forgotten that. Salt on the windowsill is not about superstition. It's about stewardship. It's about acknowledging that your home is alive, that it breathes, that it listens, that it responds to what you invite in. Every time you draw back a curtain, you open your spirit to the day. So why not claim that moment? Why not speak to it before the world does? When you wake, before you rush to your tasks, walk to your windows, touch the frame, feel the cold, the quiet pulse of morning, take a pinch of salt and let it fall gently along the edge of the sill, whisper a blessing, may light cross this line freely, may darkness lose its way here, may this glass reflect only goodness, only truth, only peace. Then open the window and let the air in, let the house breathe. You'll notice it right away, the shift. The room feels brighter, yes, but also cleaner, calmer, like something invisible has been set right again. There is a secret to this kind of faith. It's not about grandeur, it's about attention. The act of blessing your windows teaches your spirit to be present, to notice the quiet gateways of your life. Because windows don't just belong to houses. You have them too, the windows of your mind, your heart, your eyes. What you allow in shapes what you become. What you gaze upon feeds your spirit just as surely as food feeds the body. That's why guarding your windows, both the glass and the soul, is a sacred duty. If you've ever sat near a window during a storm, you know the sound, the wind pressing hard, the rain trying to find its way inside. But as long as the frame holds, the storm can only rattle. It cannot enter. That's what a prayer of salt does. It strengthens the frame of your spirit. It says, "You may shake me, but you will not breach me." The storms outside might howl, but inside remain still, lit by peace that does not yield. Some people will laugh at this, call it quaint or old-fashioned, but they don't understand that wisdom is often quiet. The world teaches you to shield your body, but faith teaches you to guard your atmosphere. And when your atmosphere is protected, everything inside you thrives. So, take your salt and make your declaration. Bless the windows where your children watch the rain. Bless the one above your sink, where you stand thinking, where your prayers rise unspoken. Bless the bedroom window that sees your dreams. Speak life into them all. Say, "Let no sorrow linger here. Let no envy look through. Let every ray of sunlight carry healing. Let every breeze bring renewal." And then, when night falls, do it once more, not with fear, but with reverence. Close the windows, touch the glass, and say, "Lord, keep watch while I rest. Let nothing uninvited peer into this peace." You don't need a loud voice. Your faith is louder than sound. Over time, you'll see what happens. The light in your home will change. It will soften, as though the air itself remembers your words. You'll find yourself breathing easier, thinking clearer, sleeping deeper, because peace is not random. It is maintained. It is built in the quiet acts of devotion that seem small, but move mountains in the unseen. Every window you bless becomes a promise that this home will be transparent, but never exposed, open, but never invaded. It will be a vessel of light, not a doorway for despair. So, child, don't just clean your windows, consecrate them. Let the salt speak your faith where your eyes meet the world. Because as long as you honor the gates of light, no darkness can claim your dwelling. And when the morning sun pours in again, it will not just illuminate the room, it will reveal the peace you have built with your own hands, grain by grain, prayer by prayer. There is one last place, beloved, that often goes untouched, yet it holds more spiritual weight than most people realize. The mirrors, those silent witnesses hanging on your walls, standing in your bedrooms, leaning quietly in corners. They see everything. They reflect what enters, what leaves, and sometimes what lingers. Most people look into a mirror and only see a body. But the truth is, mirrors remember. They hold energy, emotion, and reflection far deeper than glass and silver. When you stand before one, you're not just seeing yourself, you're meeting your atmosphere. You're facing what your spirit carries. That's why some mornings you look at your reflection and see peace glowing quietly, and other days, no matter how well you slept or how bright the light, your face looks heavy. That's not vanity, that's discernment, because the mirror speaks truth even when we refuse to. The ancients believed that mirrors were thresholds between worlds, that they could catch both light and shadow, joy and sorrow. Our grandmothers didn't call it magic, they called it wisdom. They understood that reflection itself was holy, that seeing oneself clearly was an act of faith. That's why, before they hung a new mirror, they prayed. Before they wiped away dust or fingerprints, they whispered blessings. "Let what I see remind me of God in me," they'd say. It was never about the face, it was about the spirit. Now, hear me clearly. This isn't about fear of mirrors. It's about reclaiming them as sacred. Because in a world obsessed with image, what you reflect should be more than appearance. It should be presence. It should be the peace of someone who knows who they belong to. Take a pinch of salt, beloved, and mix it with a small bowl of warm water. Stir it slowly until it dissolves, whispering a prayer as you do, not a long one, something simple and honest. Let this water cleanse what has clung to me. Let this salt remind me of truth. Then dip your fingers lightly into it and touch the edges of your mirrors, tracing them like sealing a letter. You're not performing ritual. You're setting intention. You're telling heaven, let this reflection be holy ground. Because sometimes what weighs us down isn't just what we carry, it's what we keep seeing. Every day you stand before the mirror and speak without words. You sigh at yourself, you frown, you question. The mirror hears it all. It becomes a record of the unspoken. But tonight, I want you to break that pattern. I want you to look into your reflection and speak life. Tell yourself, peace lives here. Light dwells here. I am who God says I am. Let the mirror echo blessing, not burden. You'd be surprised what changes when you do this. The same reflection begins to feel different, as though something invisible has lifted. Because when you declare blessing over your reflection, you're not flattering your ego. You're healing your soul. You're agreeing with heaven about your worth. Mirrors also hold memory. Think about it. How many tears have been shed in front of one? How many nights have you leaned over the sink, staring, searching for strength to keep going? Mirrors have seen us raw, seen us honest, seen us trying. They don't judge, but they do absorb, and that's why it's important to cleanse them, not with fear, but with reverence. When you wipe the mirror with that salt water, you're not just removing dust. You're releasing the weight of old emotions. You're saying, this space of reflection no longer carries sorrow. And as the glass clears, your spirit will too. There's a quiet magic in it, not the kind the world names, but the kind that faith understands. Because in cleansing what reflects you, you are cleansing how you see yourself. You're shifting from self-critique to self-compassion, from fatigue to renewal. That's spiritual warfare in its gentlest form, the battle to see yourself through God's eyes again. And perhaps that's the greatest secret of all. Your reflection is not a portrait of the past. It is a prophecy of what God is still shaping. When you honor it, when you pray over it, when you let peace settle upon it, you align heaven's image with your own. The salt and water are merely instruments. Your faith is the conductor. So, tomorrow morning when the sun pours across the room and finds your mirror first, pause before you look. Touch the glass lightly as if greeting an old friend and whisper, "Only truth is welcome here. Only light shall remain." Watch how even your breathing changes. Watch how your reflection softens. Because a mirror blessed in faith does more than show you a face. It reminds you of your spirit. And from that moment on, every time you walk past, the mirror will speak differently. It will no longer echo doubt or fatigue. It will shine with quiet assurance, like a gentle witness that has seen your healing unfold. Bless your mirrors, child. Guard what they reflect. Let them remind you that you are not what the world sees. You are what God sees. And as the salt seals your intention, as the light meets the glass, peace will return to your home grain by grain, reflection by reflection, until even your own eyes look back at you and whisper, all is well. There's one more place, beloved, where the unseen gathers quietly, often ignored yet deeply alive, the floor beneath your feet. We walk across it every day without thought, carrying the dust of errands, the weight of conversations, the silent echo of everything that has touched us. But the floor, child, it remembers. Every step you take within your home imprints something unseen: worry, joy, laughter, fatigue, faith. It is the silent witness to your living, and yet it is rarely blessed. Think about it. The floor carries more of your story than any wall or window ever could. It knows the rhythm of your days. It has caught your tears, your prayers, your dropped dreams, and your footsteps as you've crossed through seasons of both light and darkness. And if you listen closely, if you let the stillness speak, you can almost feel the house breathing beneath you, asking to be renewed, to be claimed again for peace. Our ancestors understood this in ways we've forgotten. They didn't just build homes, they consecrated them. Before the rugs were laid down, before the chairs were set in place, they would anoint the ground. A little salt mixed with oil, maybe a few whispered words of scripture, and the whole house would hum with quiet protection. You bless what bears you, they used to say. If it carries your body, let it also carry your blessing. So I tell you now, it's time to bless the floor. Not because it's tradition, but because it's wisdom. Because when you bless what holds you, you invite stability back into your life. You remind your spirit that it stands on holy ground even when it doesn't feel like it. Take a handful of salt and mix it into a bowl of warm water. As you stir, speak gently over it. Nothing fancy, nothing loud, just truth. Let this water carry peace. Let it bring rest to the ground beneath me. Then dip a clean cloth into it and wring it out until it's only damp. Kneel down and start from the center of your home. Wipe the floor slowly, with patience, with intention. Move outward like you're spreading calm through the very bones of the house. As you move, whisper blessings. Not just for yourself, but for everyone who walks this path. Family, friends, even strangers who might one day cross your threshold. You'll notice something as you do it. The act itself quiets you. Your thoughts slow down. The rhythm of your hands against the floor feels like prayer. And it is, because prayer doesn't always need words. It needs awareness. It needs presence. Every motion becomes sacred when done in faith. As you move through each room, speak differently to each space. In the hallway, say, "Let only truth travel here." In the living room, let laughter echo longer than sorrow. In the kitchen, let nourishment never run dry. In the bedrooms, let dreams be gentle and hearts be safe. And at the entrance where the outside world meets your sanctuary, pause. Press your palm against the floor and whisper, "All that crosses here shall be met with peace." By the time you finish, your body will feel lighter. Not because the salt water worked some mystery, but because you did. You showed your home attention, reverence, gratitude. And gratitude, beloved, cleanses more than anything else. There's power in honoring the things that hold us up. We spend so much time looking upward for signs of the divine that we forget God is beneath us too, steady, patient, holding us through the ground we stand on. Every floor, every step, every board beneath your feet can become a prayer when you move with awareness. And maybe this blessing isn't just for your home. Maybe it's a reminder for your spirit, because there are days when you will feel unsteady, when life will shift beneath you like sand. But remember this, peace begins at your feet. You can always reclaim your balance by grounding yourself in faith. The same way salt settles into the earth and purifies what it touches, your prayer settles into your steps, guiding where you go next. When you've finished, open a window and let the air move through the house. Listen, you might hear the faintest sound, a creak, a sigh, the subtle shifting of stillness. That's your home responding. That's the spirit of peace taking root in the very boards beneath you. And when you walk across that floor tomorrow, you'll notice the difference. The steps will sound softer, the air will feel clearer, you'll carry yourself differently because you'll know this ground, this home, this life are no longer ordinary. They are blessed. So bless the floor, child. Bless it with salt, with prayer, with gratitude. Because the floor holds you when you are weary, catches you when you fall, and reminds you that no matter how much you carry, you are never unsupported. Every step you take upon holy ground becomes a promise. You are seen, you are held, and peace follows wherever you walk. There is another space, beloved, that few ever think to touch with prayer, the air itself, the invisible, the in-between, the thing that moves through every room and every breath you take. It is the unseen guest that lives with you, that carries scent, sound, and spirit. You can't hold it, but it holds everything. Laughter that once rang down the hallway, arguments that still echo faintly, music that hung in the walls long after it stopped playing. Air remembers too. When you walk into a home and feel something before anyone speaks, peace, tension, sadness, that's the air telling its story. You can scrub the floors, polish the mirrors, wash every window, but if the air is heavy, the whole house feels weary. That's why the old ones used to say, a clean home starts where you can't see. They knew that the spirit of a place lives in its atmosphere, not its decoration. To bless the air is to restore breath itself. It's to tell every lingering heaviness, your time is done here. And child, it's simpler than you think. You don't need incense or ceremony. You only need salt, water, and intention, the oldest trio in creation. Take a bowl of water and dissolve a pinch of salt in it. Let it sit for a moment while you breathe slowly, as if inviting calm to sit beside you. Then walk through your home with that bowl in your hand. Move quietly, like you're listening to the heartbeat of the house. Dip your fingers lightly into the water and flick it gently into the air. Each drop is a word, a prayer, a cleansing. Say softly, let this air remember peace. Let this breath be holy again. You will see the sunlight catch those tiny droplets as they fall. For a second, they look like glass, fragile, beautiful, gone in an instant. But what remains, you can't see. It's the shift, the soft exhale of a home being reset. Sometimes when life has been loud or grief has lingered too long, the air inside us feels just as stale. That's when you must do the same for your spirit. Breathe deep, breathe slow. Let faith move through you like wind through curtains. Because air, whether outside or within, must move to stay alive. Faith must move to stay strong. I remember once after a long season of sorrow, my grandmother opened every window in her house. She said she needed the Lord to turn the air over. She sprinkled salt water as she walked, humming under her breath, and by the time she was done, the whole place smelled new, not of perfume, but of freedom. You can't live in yesterday's air, she told me. You've got to let God breathe today into you. Blessing the air teaches you release. It reminds you that not everything that enters your life was meant to stay. You can honor what was, but you must make room for what's next. The same way stale air gives way to wind, sorrow makes space for joy if you invite it. So open your windows, child. Let the wind carry your prayers outside. Let the light fill the corners where stillness used to sit. If you listen closely, you'll hear the soft music of curtains shifting, a kind of amen whispered by the house itself. That's how peace announces its return, not with thunder, but with gentleness. When you finish, sit quietly for a moment. Notice how the air feels different, lighter on your skin, easier to breathe. That's not imagination, that's cleansing. That's what happens when you decide that even what cannot be seen deserves blessing. Do this whenever your home feels heavy or when your heart does. Walk through, salt water in hand, voice steady, saying, "Every breath in this place belongs to peace." Because life, beloved, begins and ends with breath. And if the air around you is holy, then every inhale becomes a prayer, and every exhale a release. Keep this practice not as ritual, but as rhythm. A reminder that you live surrounded by grace, carried by it, sustained by it. And long after the droplets dry and the air goes still again, the blessing will remain, woven into every molecule, every breeze, every sigh that passes through your door. There is a place, beloved, that carries more weight than walls and windows, though it cannot be touched or seen. It is the sound that lives inside your home, the vibration that shapes everything around you. Every word spoken, every laugh, every argument, every prayer whispered into the dark leaves an imprint in the air. Sound has memory. It lingers like perfume, subtle but powerful. And if you've ever walked into a room and felt tension before anyone spoke, you've already met it. The air was full of echoes. Words are the architects of atmosphere. They build or they break, they heal or they harm. That's why the ancients used to say, life and death are in the tongue. The power isn't in volume, it's in vibration. What you say, even softly, changes the room you stand in. It rearranges the invisible. It either invites heaven or it feeds unrest. So if you truly want to cleanse your home, you must cleanse its sound. Not just the noise, but the tone, the frequency of the spirit that lives there. The old women knew this. They didn't have microphones or sound machines, but they understood the music of faith. They hummed hymns while they worked. They prayed under their breath. They filled silence with the sound of hope. And without knowing it, they were tuning their homes to peace. I remember my grandmother sitting by the window in the evenings. She'd hum a melody with no words, low and steady. It wasn't a song she learned. It was one that came from living, from loving, from believing. The house would grow still when she did it, like even the walls were listening. She'd say, "You have to give your home something holy to echo." And she was right, because silence left unattended can gather sorrow, but sound, blessed sound, can drive it out. This, my dear, is why it matters what you speak. Your home listens, your spirit listens. Your words are seeds that bloom in unseen soil. When you say, "I am tired," the walls remember. When you say, "Peace be still," heaven remembers. Both take root. The question is, which one do you want to grow? So here's what I want you to do. Once you've blessed the air and the walls and the floor, stand in the center of your home. No salt this time, just your voice. Don't rush. Take a breath and feel your chest rise. That's life itself moving through you. Then begin to speak blessing aloud. Let the sound roll through the rooms. Say, "This house is safe. This place is holy. This family is covered." Let your tone be calm but sure, not demanding, not fearful. Speak like someone who knows the authority of peace. If you're not one for words, sing. It doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to be sincere. Sing until the sound feels warm. Sing until the stillness changes texture. You'll know it when it happens. The air will loosen. Your heartbeat will slow. That's not imagination. That's your home harmonizing with your spirit again. And if there are rooms that feel particularly heavy, rooms where you've cried or fought or worried, stay there a little longer. Don't avoid them. Speak directly to the space. Say, "I forgive what happened here. I reclaim this room for peace." Then, if you can, open a window and let the sound spill outside. Let the world hear your blessing. You see, the practice of cleansing sound is not superstition. It's science of the soul. Everything in creation responds to sound. The sea obeys command. The wind stills when spoken to. Even your own heartbeat shifts with what it hears. That is divine design. When you speak light, light expands. When you speak despair, it thickens. Every word you say is a ripple moving through the unseen. So, beloved, be intentional. In the mornings, greet your home with gratitude. Thank you, Lord, for this new day. In the evenings, close it with calm. Peace, stay here tonight. Let your prayers fill the silence. Let your laughter linger longer than your worry. Over time, those sounds become walls of their own, walls that hold you steady even when the world outside trembles. A blessed home doesn't always look different, but it sounds different. The silence inside it isn't empty. It's alive, humming quietly like a well-tuned instrument. It's the sound of stillness that has been tended to, guarded, honored. That's the real miracle, when peace no longer has to be spoken because it has become the very frequency of your life. So speak, child, speak kindly, speak truth. Speak healing into your rooms and watch them soften. Let your home echo with the rhythm of hope until even your footsteps make music. because every word you utter in faith becomes a song that heaven can't help but answer. There is yet another place, beloved, quieter than silence, smaller than a breath that still needs tending, the mind. Not the brain that thinks, but the inner room where thoughts are stored, where memories rest, where fears build nests and hope fights to stay awake. It's the room that never closes its doors, even while you sleep. You can clean your home, bless your door, purify your air, but if the mind remains cluttered, the peace you build will slip through the cracks like water through fingers. The mind is the house within the house. Its walls are made of memory, its floors of belief, its light of perception. It is where everything begins before it touches the world outside. Every decision, every prayer, every reaction first walks through the corridors of your thoughts. And child, if those halls echo with worry, if those walls are lined with old wounds, then even the calmest space will eventually inherit the storm. Our ancestors, wise without books, knew that cleansing began from the inside. You can't anoint a house, my grandmother used to say, if you're still angry in it. She'd tap her temple gently with a wrinkled finger and whisper, "Start here." It took me years to understand what she meant. Blessing the mind is the deepest kind of housekeeping. It's a discipline, a devotion, a quiet warfare. So tonight I want you to walk into that inner house, not with fear, but with tenderness. Don't rush to sweep everything out, just observe. Listen to your thoughts the way you'd listen to wind through the trees. Which ones soothe you? Which ones sting? Which ones repeat like old songs you no longer believe in? This is how you find the corners that need clearing. Then take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Imagine a soft light, no color, just warmth, beginning to move gently through your mind. It doesn't force, it flows. Let it travel behind your thoughts, washing them clean. Let it rest where pain still whispers. Let it settle in the spaces where confusion built its camp. And while you breathe, speak softly, not to the air, but to yourself. Peace is my inheritance. I will think in truth. I will rest in light. This isn't empty poetry. It's alignment. Every time you speak peace into your thoughts, you teach your mind what to host. And over time, those words become architecture. They build calm, they frame faith, they hold hope steady when everything else trembles. Salt, child, may not reach your mind like it does your door or floor, but prayer does. Faith does. Meditation is its cleansing water. Gratitude is its fragrance. You can bless the mind without saying a single word. Sometimes silence is the prayer itself. Sometimes stillness is the anointing. Let me tell you what happens when the mind is at peace. The body follows. The heart slows. The breath deepens. Even the house feels it. Rooms seem brighter, people kinder, time gentler. Because your energy, the unseen river running through you, sets the current of your home. When your thoughts are calm, your house becomes a harbor, not a battlefield. But peace doesn't mean emptiness. A quiet mind isn't one without thought. It's one that has chosen which thoughts to keep. Let wisdom be your doorkeeper and faith your foundation. When worry knocks, you don't have to let it stay. When fear tries to unpack its bags, remind it that this mind has already been claimed. There's a simple practice my grandmother taught me, and I'll pass it to you. Each morning, before speaking to anyone, touch your forehead lightly and say, "Lord, bless this mind to think clearly." Let no thought enter that doesn't serve peace, and at night, before closing your eyes, whisper, "Thank you for what I've learned. Take what I can't carry." That's all. 2 sentences, yet over time they become armor. You see, the mind has seasons. Some days it's a garden, others a storm, but God meets you in both. Your job is not to silence the weather, it's to remember that you are not the rain. You are the ground that receives it. And with every drop, you can choose to grow something new. Blessing your mind is not about perfection. It's about permission, the permission to rest, to let go, to rebuild. It's the acknowledgement that your thoughts deserve tending just as much as your walls or windows. Because until the mind is healed, the home can only echo half its peace. So tonight, beloved, lay your hand over your heart and say, I am home. Then touch your temple and whisper, and this home is whole. Let that truth settle. Let it linger. Because when the mind remembers its own holiness, every other blessing you've spoken finally finds a place to live.